little town in Europe is a place of silence and rest. 60,000 people live in this town. It is famous because of its funny stories. Perhaps this is why all the people here are kind and happy. Dear viewers, today we are visiting the town Gabrovo. The city is located in the center of the country at the banks of the Yantra river. Although it's cold outside, the town met us with good weather. We came here to meet our fellow citizen, Maral Atanasova. Maral Atanasova was born in Almaty in a big family. After school, she followed her mother's path. She decided to study in the Almaty Medical University. She got a degree in pediatrics. Human life is like an unknown sea. After university, she wanted to work in one of the Almaty hospitals. She always dreamed of helping people and helping them get well. Her dream came true, but not in her homeland, but in Europe. In a small town of Gabrovo in Bulgaria. Maral never thought she would live in this town, but this is her fate.
Первое впечатление мое от Габрова было, что это очень маленький город, и после Алматы он мне казался очень маленьким. Но уже с течением времени
My first impression of Gabrovo was that it is a very small town, and after Almaty it seemed very small to me. But after some time the vision of the town has changed, and now it doesn't look so small to me, and everything that happens here, whether it is a carnival in spring or any other event in this town,
как-то чувствовать себя уютно слушая музыку, и даже, возможно, и пойти и на оперу, которую вот буквально через неделю.
Held to feel comfortable. If you listen to music, or even if you go to the opera that will come here in 1 week from now from another town, and you slowly get used to the faces of people who live here, and you start feeling at home. In order to stop missing her homeland, Maral likes to walk in the rain. Because she says it rains in any country. It unites everyone, and it reminds her of her native land. Gabrovo is in the center of Bulgaria. It is a small town. First, it was just a settlement, but later it turned into an economically important town. It became an important object because it is closely located to the royal capital. The town started growing during the Ottoman attack on the Balkan Peninsula because the refugees started coming here. In 1860 it became a town, and in 1878 the town started growing even more because of industrial development. Now this town has a developed machine industry. The town's name is related to many jokes, so on April 1st, its name was given to the asteroid 2206. Maral came to this town 27 years ago. What can bring a young girl from Kazakhstan to Bulgaria? Of course, love. First, she came to Bulgaria as a tourist with her friends, but here she met one Bulgarian and fell in love with him. They were sending letters to each other for 3 years. You see, all these letters prove their correspondence for 3 years. They wrote 30 letters in 3 years. Every month I was getting one letter, and it took one letter to get there in 2 weeks. After that he was sending me his response, so it took 1 month for one letter. This time of expecting was very exciting and very romantic communication period. We did not see each other. We had no Skype. Nothing we have now that makes it easier to communicate. We were just waiting for letters. After meeting Maral, my friends exchanged addresses, and for the New Year's I sent her a postcard and she responded. Our difficult letter exchange lasted for 3 years, and I seriously started thinking and decided to go to Almaty. I went there by myself as a VIP tourist for 10 days to see the life of the Kazakhs, their culture. I knew nothing about Kazakhstan. The letters from Bulgaria that reached Kazakhstan in 1 month brought the loved ones together. Ivan came to Kazakhstan to meet her family and get married.
Встречали его на Волге, возили его как VIP-персону вообще, конечно.
We met him in a Volga and took him around like a VIP. The meeting itself was very nice and he stayed in the Atrar hotel. He met my grandmother, my mother. They said he's a good guy, honest, responsible. And also they said you can go with him anywhere, to Bulgaria as well.
Буквално с месеци вървяха писмата в едната в другата посока.
Later, we decided to invite her to Bulgaria. After university, she came here and went to a Bulgarian wedding. 3 months later, we decided to get married. We had a big Bulgarian wedding for 150 invited persons, and the bride's side had only her mother and sister. We could not invite more then. Later, our sons were born, which are independent now, and 3 years from now, we will celebrate our 30th year anniversary. Gabrovo is considered as the biggest cultural center in Bulgaria. There are 3 landmarks: the theater of drama named after Rako Stoyanov, a doll theater, and a theater of experimental satire and stage. Also, this town hosts the most famous satire house in the world. It made the town famous. Every year, the International Satire and Humor Contests are held here. The town has lots of museums. That's why lots of tourists come here every year. The first difficulty for those who move to live in another country is the language. She admits that it was the hardest thing in the beginning, but thanks to her diligence, she speaks Bulgarian very well now.
Впервые услышав болгарский язык, я подумала, что это очень сложный язык, хотя он очень похож на русский, но очень трудно.
When I heard Bulgarian for the first time, I thought it is a very complicated language, although it is similar to Russian. It was very hard to understand this language, and I thought I would never speak it. My husband decided to help me and brought me one book that was written by a very serious author, with a very serious text. I tried and suffered and still tried to read it, but couldn't read more than 2 lines in one day. Then I thought I need to take the study books and started to study the student books. I studied the books from the 4, 5, 6, 7 levels by myself.
Аз доста често до късно работех, късно се прибирах. В повечето време винаги тя повече е била близко до тях и възпитанието, което имат.
When Maral came to Bulgaria, it was very hard for her to study the language, but she kept studying it after we got married. I kept correcting her and tried to help her this way. At that time we spoke Russian and I was speaking it quite well then after 3 years of writing letters. But I forgot most of it now because I do not get practice much. She learned the language quite fast and it took her less than 1 year. She felt sad so far away from her family and friends. The regular mail was slow. She had to wait the whole month. But when our children were born, she got busy with them and she was not so homesick anymore. Now, Maral works in a recreation center as a doctor and psychologist. First, she got a degree in pediatrics in Almaty, but later she became a psychologist.
Я училась в медицинском институте. Видимо, идея пришла учиться на врача от того, что мама была терапевтом.
I studied in medical university. I think the idea to become a doctor came to me because my mother was a therapist. I saw my mother working and helping people. Of course, I wanted to learn to be useful for people, and I studied pediatrics. After I graduated from university in Almaty, I worked in Bulgaria for 10 years as a pediatrician and decided that I need to keep developing. By that time, I could start looking for my profession, and being an adult, I decided that I need to keep learning to be a psychologist.
Учиться дальше на психолога.
С доктор Атанасова се запознахме по една наша обява за работа. Търсихме лекар в хотелския комплекс.
I met Maral Atanasova when she came to be interviewed. It was a long conversation. We talked about many things, and after 2 hours of talking, I felt very calm and positive. She is this kind of person, and the conversation looked like you visit a psychologist. She has a degree in clinical psychology, and we needed such a specialist. I don't regret it, and even more and more, I am convinced that I made the right choice.
Аз работя с доктор Марал Атанасова от 2008 година и с нея работата ми е абсолютна лекота.
We have been working with Maral since 2008. I can say that she is easy to work with, no stress, full understanding from her side. You can refer to her with any question, both professional and personal. She is a very calm person, and I enjoy working with her very much. Maral's husband Ivan works as a programmer. Now they have 2 sons. The Kazakh nation's son-in-law is grateful to his destiny that has given him Maral. Now Ivan and Maral are bringing up 2 sons. The older son says they heard a lot about Kazakhstan, and their mother tells them a lot about Kazakhstan. They were here also. They know Kazakhs are very hospitable and kind people. We were in Kazakhstan 2 years ago. It was summer, but under the great tree shadow, you couldn't feel that heat too much. The climate is just like here. I liked everything there. Clean streets with flowers, friendly people, sour cream and buckwheat. But their cuisine is too heavy, too much fat in it. I should say that our mom speaks Bulgarian very well compared to many others who came to live here. She is very caring and always asks us if we're dressed warm, although it has been 5 years since I lived separately from them in another town. The youngest child in the family is Christian. He said his mother's native country made a good impression on them.
За майка мога говоря много, заради това първо ще почна за Казахстан.
About impressions of Kazakhstan, everything is large-scale and spacious there. I've been to America several times with student groups, and Kazakhstan reminded me of it in terms of size. We went from Almaty to Astana by train, and the distance is big, very unusual for us. Bulgaria is a small country and everything is close by, although your gas is much cheaper. Almaty is a beautiful and green city. My grandmother lives there, an aunt and big family that we visited. We went to Medeo. We have family in Astana too, and they accepted us very openly and showed us the northern capital. The Kazakhs are very friendly and open people. We're very happy with that trip and we want to go there again. Maral has a lot of friends in Bulgaria that has become her home now. She grew up with the Kazakh hospitality and other properties. Maybe this is why she is always in the center of any company. Maral's friend Olga says her soul is endless like the Kazakh land. She says Maral is very tender, sweet, and kind.
Находясь за границей, мы, в общем-то, чувствуем ограниченность в отношениях с нашими родными. Мы не так часто их видим, мы не так часто ездим к себе на родину. И получается, что у нас самые близкие люди и родственники оказываются наши подруги. И я Марал именно так и воспринимаю. И я считаю, что и она меня так тоже воспринимает. Поэтому все самые сокровенные мысли, все самые...
When you are somewhere abroad, you feel the limited ability in communicating with your family. We don't see them that often, we don't go to our motherland that often. It turns out that our closest people and family are our friends, and that's what I feel about Maral. I think she feels the same about me, so everybody has his own secret thoughts and some concerns. We lived these years together, and the fact that she is Kazakh and living in a small town like Gabrovo, people notice her right away. If you walk with her in the street, everyone is turning their heads to see us because her look is so much different from the classic Bulgarians. Everyone is paying attention to her. One more thing that makes Maral interesting to me is that despite the hard economic situation in the country with not so high salaries, she always has good taste. She dresses very well, she is always charming, and people are looking at her and say compliments to her. We have different cultures even though we lived at the same time in the Soviet Union. The education for me and her are kind of the same. We are of the same age, we lived in the same country, but still she has her own culture. You can find a lot of things in her home that remind her of Kazakhstan. Some figures, camels, national heroes. She always has some national details in her home, and you can see it in the interior. I remember once she decided to surprise me and made an evening of the Kazakh traditional cuisine and prepared bishbarmak for me. The guest of Gabrovo will never forget one place, the House of Humor and Satire. The citizens of this town come here very often. You can also meet Maral and Ivan here. The House of Humor started working on April 1st, 1972. The motto of the House of Humor and Satire is Gabrovo, is the world survived because it could smile. Every year they have International Humor and Satire contest. Until present day, around 50,000 plays were shown on this stage. The House of Satire and Humor can be found only here. Maybe this is why the citizens call their town the Laughing Capital. And they also like to joke and tell anecdotes. And they are good. Over these days, we understood that our hero has everything she needs. She's a good wife, a good mother, a good friend, and an excellent specialist in a beautiful town, but still she is missing one thing, her native land. A man can get used to any place, but still misses his motherland, and Maral misses it too. Our hero says that she misses Kazakh atmosphere and conversations.
Человек, наверное, привыкает жить в другой стране и менталитет, и людей узнает. И я уже живу так долго.
Perhaps a man can get used to life in a foreign country, learns the mindset and people. I've lived here for 27 years. I think I got used to it. I even think in Bulgarian. I understand this language very well. I speak it well, but besides that, I still have something Kazakh in me. Sometimes I miss people who were around me and want to see my family. And every day, Maral is watching news about Kazakhstan on the TV to see what has changed, what's new, and so on.
Благодаря тому, что муж меня...
My husband understands me and he knows what I miss.
Он поставил мне спутниковую антенну, чтобы я чувствовала...
He set a satellite dish for me so I could feel closer to my nation, closer to what's happening in our native country. This put the end to our trip to Bulgaria. According to our tradition, we gave our hero a gift for good memories about Kazakhstan. If you happen to be in Gabrovo, the center of laughter and fun, then you should remember that one Kazakh lady named Maral lives there. She is always glad to meet all Kazakhstanis. Her heart is open for everyone.
Хочу поблагодарить вас, ребята, за то, что вы привезли кусок родной земли.
I would like to thank you guys for bringing me a little piece of Kazakh land to me, and I would like to wish my family and friends, and even to the people I don't know, prosperity and growth for our country. I hope that I will have a chance to be in my homeland and to be with my family and friends more often. Greetings to all. Sağ bolunuz. Ciao. Over these 3 days, we have learned many interesting and new things. See you again soon. Gabrovo.